If you're trying to increase your bench press or get rid of shoulder or wrist pain, this video, I'll give you 5 tips and then some bonus ones at the end. The first 4 tips are gonna be more form issues, whereas the ones after that are gonna be how to increase your bench weight-wise and get to that 225 or 315. Let's get started. Some of the main issues that I usually see with people on bench press usually come from the wrists, the hands, the elbow, or the positioning. You're always gonna want a 90-degree angle with your elbow, no matter where your hand is when you're benching. So when you go to bench, your hand positioning is gonna matter on how long your arms are. The wider your grip is, the more out your elbows are gonna have to go. Versus when your grip's closer, your elbows are gonna go more towards your hips to maintain that 90-degree angle. You're always gonna want your forearms straight. So if you have a wide grip, you're gonna want your forearms to be straight, versus if you do closer, your forearms are still straight at that 90-degree angle. Before we get to tip number 2, make sure to stay to the end where I give you some ways to increase your bench press weight-wise. So the second tip that helps a lot is where the bar touches. So you want to touch around where your nipples and sternum are. Touch and go up. You don't want to go too low because it's going to cause you to lose control. And if you go too high, it's going to cause a lot of shoulder pain and have your elbows flare out. So make sure that when you go down, you're touching your sternum and then going up. Tip number 3 is how you place your hand on the bar. Most people grab the bar around their knuckles, which when you end up pushing, ends up bending your wrist backwards, which causes a lot of wrist pain, and people have to wear straps. One of the best tips I've ever received is grabbing the bar across your palm if you follow that line. So it goes from here all the way in between your thumb and pointer finger. So what it does is it changes your grip from this and bending more to a little diagonal, but when you grab it, it's gonna keep that wrist straight through the whole movement. You can see here the difference between a knuckle grab, where your wrist will be bent, versus when you grab through here, how your wrist is naturally straight. So this is a knuckle grab, what you don't want to do for your wrists. You can see my wrists get bent and they end up hurting. Versus when you grab through your palm and then grip it through, now my wrist can stay straight through the whole movement and I can push through my palms. And your wrist stays straight the whole time. This actually helped increase my weight a lot on the bench press. The fourth problem that causes shoulder injury that I see a lot is when people bench press, they end up putting all the weight into their shoulders and they don't even use their chest to bench press. So instead of when you go down loading in the shoulder, keep your elbows down, and with that 90-degree angle when you're going down, you want to keep it straight, almost like it's parallel to the wall. So instead of this, you want to bring the bar down and keep your elbows under. So try to stay away from flaring the elbows up and instead keep them under the bar. So if you're looking from above, it's going to look like this rather than this. Once you fix your form issues, then we can start increasing weight on the bench. One of the best ways that I got my bench up to 345 pounds is doing 2 chest days a week, 1 focusing on hypertrophy with a higher rep range, and then the other day working more to the 6 and under range. When I do 6 reps and under, I would usually add a 5th set and add 30 to 40 pounds over what I could do, and I unrack it and have a friend help me going slow on the negative, and then when I touch my chest, using as much power as I can to push up, but let them take the rest of it off. So you're still working, it's almost like a drop set. Make sure to progressively overload and increase by 2.5 to 5% every week or every other week. And when you increase, let's say you're doing 225 for 2 sets of 12 and then 235 for 2 sets of 10. That next week, you're either going to increase the reps on the 235 or try to increase the weight and bring the reps down to 10 for the 225. So the next week I might try 235 for 4 sets of 10, or I might do 235 for 2 sets of 10 and then 245 for 2 sets of 8. And then 2 weeks from there, I'm going to try to bring those reps back up to 12 and 10, but with that new weight. Besides that, it's more just repetitions, repetitions, repetitions. You got to keep practicing the bench to get better at it. I hope you guys enjoyed this a lot. Make sure to subscribe for more and look out for more videos on form, technique, and how to gain muscle and lose fat. See you guys later.